Hello everyone, my name's Dean, and let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is January 6th, 2025. And Bitcoin did exactly what we said it was likely to do. It was likely to head up to our target where we have our purple box. And when it got there, it was likely to stall. This is exactly what we're seeing. The last thing we said in the last episode was, once this happens, between this move to the upside, to our target, and the consolidation before the eventual downtrend or the eventual reversal of trend, we should see a significant move in certain altcoins. This we have yet to see. Okay? But I'm going to tell you today why this is something that you should expect based off of the charts and one key indicator. If all that sounds interesting to you, then watch till the very end. Let's get into it. So Bitcoin, let's start on the 4-hourly time frame. If you can see what we've been saying for the past, I don't know how long it's been, weeks, a month, we were likely in a B wave, okay? And the larger context of this whole thing is a zigzag, okay? A zigzag is a 5-3-5 corrective pattern in Elliott wave analysis. There are three types of corrective patterns in Elliott wave analysis. There are flat corrections, there are zigzags, and there are triangles. You can only see corrections in one of those three types, okay? This type is a particularly heinous type. Why? Because the A wave and the C wave are impulsive. They're corrective, but impulsive in nature, okay? So the correction starts and it really hurts. That initial break really hurts. And then that B wave kind of lulls you to sleep. It goes side to side to side to side, lulls you to sleep. The interesting thing about the B waves in the zigzag pattern is that they come to a minimum. They're actually quite tradable and quite predictable. They're, of all of the corrective patterns, triangles included, these are the easiest to read because that B wave has to come to a minimum of the 0.5, to a minimum of the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level, and it only travels to a maximum of the 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level. Hence, why I have the purple box in what we call the, the golden pocket. That's what it's called, the golden pocket between the 0.5 and the 618. Okay. Now, as you can see, we're wicked above quite ever so slightly the 0.618, but that's to be expected. Actually, on my Fibonacci retracement tool, I have this 7.4. I'm going to get a little nerdy, but bear with me. This has a point. So if you calculate pi and the phi ratio in base 12, which I believe our ancestors used, and not base 10, you get an even number, okay, for pi. But for the phi ratio, it's not 0.618, it's 0.74. And in my research and in my, experience, I've seen that is an important level whereby if the 0.74 is even hit, it's not a wick beyond the 0.618. You're going to the 7.86 minimum. Okay, so basically that is my invalidation. People in the comments sometimes ask me, what's your invalidation for this trading thesis? Well, it's kind of already invalidated because it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it's not a damn mongoose. It's quite clearly a zigzag. But technically speaking, if by some way, shape, or form, price were to come up and hit this 0.74, to me, in my experience, that invalidates the zigzag trade thesis. In which case, I would just say, well, I guess I missed the flat, because I seriously don't see this being anything but a corrective pattern, right? And then you'd have to explain what the hell this is, right? Anyway, that's aside. That's why I have that 074 on there. In any case, so I do expect, let's go back on the small time frames. I do expect some move right here, and again, we can wick beyond the 0618. It's okay. That you tend to see that in practice, right? Not everything hits the line exactly and doesn't go a cent beyond. That's not how the real world works. And in this time, I expect an alt preseason, if you will. Okay, it's like there's some alts that we talked about yesterday are well positioned to move in this market that haven't yet made their move. Those I expect to move. Okay, and I'll show you exactly why. All right. So basically, I'm not going to talk too much about Bitcoin because we've kind of talked about that so much ad nauseum, right? And it's doing exactly what we said it was likely to do. So right now, it's time for the alt, and we're waiting for that. So we're just expecting Bitcoin to pretty much range. And what's interesting is if you have any experience in this crypto market, you'll know when do altcoins move? First, Bitcoin pumps, stalls out, hits its target, stalls out, then altcoins pump. Generally speaking, there are always exceptions. Some things front run the move, fine, but by and large. So this is the time you should expect alts to run. Let's look at those two trades that I mentioned yesterday. So I mentioned DYDX, I mentioned Lit. Okay, both trades I'm still in. Here's why you should be encouraged by this price action. Okay, so I'm on the hourly time frame, and last we spoke, I said, oh, hey, look, a reversal pattern, and I drew this out. Let's use solid lines. Right. I spied this downwards wedge, okay, or falling wedge as a lot of people call it. So falling wedges tend to break up. So what did we get? We got a break up of this falling wedge. That's bullish. They tend to be reversal patterns. So you saw this falling wedge in DYDX. It indeed broke up, but it didn't break up into some magical God candle. It broke up into another consolidation, another wedge, a rising wedge. But this is different. This is a rising, broadening wedge. Quite bullish, because rising wedges tend to be seen as bearish. Nothing is either bullish or bearish in pattern analysis. Everything has probabilities to break up or down. But we're just talking about the likelihood. Likelihood of rising wedges to break down are higher than to break up. But rising, broadening wedges, not so. This is quite bullish. This is basically, and I'm going to show you in a second, the equivalent, the bullish equivalent of a sideways consolidation, which is necessary to create liquidity for a big move up. So I like this. As you can see, we're going up and down and up and down and up and down. Threes, what you want to see, that's the magic number in consolidation. A wave, B wave, A wave, B wave, A wave, B wave. Final consolidation right here. And now, last but not least, what you should expect and what you should be waiting for and what you should look out for to confirm bullish momentum in this trade thesis for this particular project is a move up and through, breaking the top resistance of the range, retesting the midline, holding support of the midline, and then going up. Okay, so that's what I see in DYDX. So far, so good. Yes, it's been tough because, nobody wants to go side to side, but that's just the nature of trading sometimes. You put the work in, consolidate, and then you get the rewards if you manage to survive the consolidation. Yeah, so that's what I see with DYDX. Litentry. Okay, this is the analog of the sideways consolidation that I was talking about, where there's bullishness, potential bullishness, but it's orthogonal, it's straight, there's not enough buying pressure for it to be up and to the right. But it's pretty much the same thing as what we just saw in DYDX, except it's straight. And that basically means that in this particular project, at this particular time, there's not enough buying pressure to push this channel up. But essentially, you're dealing with another channel of consolidation. And again, what you should be looking for is a break up and through the channel, okay? And then after that, a retest of the midline of the channel, preferably holding the 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level of whatever move you did to break up and out of the channel, and then continuation. Same principle. That's what you should be looking for. But it's annoying, but it is encouraging that you're consolidating. Again, consolidations are what you get at bottoms. Consolidations of accumulation, we call them, right, in Wyckoff analysis. So I see an accumulation pattern in Lit. I see an accumulation pattern in DYDX, and these accumulation patterns have been going on for some time. As you can see, this one in Lit has been going on for almost exactly 4 days. Same thing with DYDX, right? So, I mean, it really tests you, and you can see again why, oh, this one's not as long. It's a day and 5 hours. But, trading it's like hunting. It's like, I've never hunted before. I'm just speculating, but it's like those things that require immense amount of skill and an immense amount of patience, and you have to have both, or else you can't be successful. That's pretty much what it is. A good way to do it is buy on spot, set it and forget it. Don't look at it, because then all this happens in the background and you don't worry about it because you do high time frame analysis and whatever. But if you're trading leverage, you're day trading, you're trading small time frames, you got to pay attention to each and every candle, and it can be excruciatingly difficult, but it's enriching and it pays. It does in the end. So stick with it. I would stick with these trades. What else in the altcoin space? Some of our targets were hit. I think a few episodes ago I talked about sand hitting, putting in a C wave because it was likely putting in a zigzag. What do you see? That's exactly what we saw. An A, B, C zigzag, right? Oh, sorry. A B wave that was of a zigzag. So this is the A wave, rather. This is the B wave. I expect that you consolidate here before a move down, okay? So, again, not everything's going to run, in this pre-alt season that I call it, because they've already run, or they're not in position, right? They're just not set up for that. So that's why I'm not calling it alt season proper, because like Ethereum, for instance, it's not set up for that. Like, again, it's another example of you put in an A wave, you put your B wave in, you've hit your target right there, right? All you should expect to do, kind of like Bitcoin, is to consolidate before moving down and putting in your final wave of your zigzag, okay? But things like DYDX, things like Litecoin, things like Hook protocol, what else? Dent, maybe, right? Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, there are certain things that will run, and people will be like, whoa, what's going on there? And they're putting in 30% in that first move, and then putting in 90% in the second move, and then putting in a final 40%. And that's what I expect to get. And time frame, I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin went side to side for a few more days, because, right, this move, all these moves, think about them. They don't just happen like that. It takes people buying and selling. It takes people finding out, okay, what's happening, and then making up their minds, right? You need time for the price to cool off and change direction. So we're likely going to put that distribution in. Last thing I want to show you, and we'll get out of here. I'm going to show you an indicator that says exactly what I said, that we're likely to get a preseason, an alt preseason. I'm calling it an alt preseason. It's not alt season quite yet, right? Because alt season proper is when everything is running. More or less 95% of the market is just running and is stupid and crazy gains, and everybody's a genius, and triple digit gainers on the daily, double digit minimum gainers on the daily. Not yet there, okay? So I'm switched on to our Bitcoin dominance chart, and for those of you who don't know, Bitcoin dominance is a measure of Bitcoin's dominance in the entire cryptocurrency space. When it goes up, Bitcoin's gaining against the rest of the market. When it goes down, it means that altcoins are gaining against Bitcoin in market cap. That is alt season. That's when we create wealth in the cryptocurrency space, okay? So we've been tracking this for a while. I'm on the weekly time frame, and you can see Bitcoin dominance has been in an uptrend, a strong uptrend for quite some time. That uptrend of many, I mean, let's zoom out so you guys can see it, because I'm sure not everybody knows this chart. This uptrend had been going on since about August of 22. Okay, you can see it. That's the uptrend of Bitcoin dominance. Now, why are we finding resistance and why are we reversing here? Well, you can see we have almost decade-long resistance that we've met, right? So you hit your head on that decade-long resistance, you put in some sort of distribution channel, and you can zoom in and see what's going on. And so that's the idea. This August of 22, what would that be? Let's see, let me do math real quick. August, September, what? It's 2 years, almost 3 years, whatever. 3 years of Bitcoin gaining against altcoins. Basically 3 years of altcoins puking and losing money in altcoins. That broke right here. That's an initial break, okay? That's an initial break. You always have to have a retest of proper support loss as resistance, right? That is a basic principle of technical analysis. It's called an SR flip. So this was support. It was support for so long, right? Since August of 22, like I said. You lost it here on this faithful day in November, late November. This was an alert, okay? Subsequent to that, we get a retest of that lost support. Sometimes you get multiple retests, but I believe that was it. And I'm going to show you why. So you got a retest, and then after that retest, you started moving. So I understand why some people are calling for alt season, but not just yet. And this is why not just yet. So look what happened. Once you lost after that retest, and I like this retest, like, look, A wave, B wave, and why am I drawing them like that? They're flat corrections. They're clearly flat corrections. So flat corrections in Elliott wave analysis are corrective patterns that have that kind of anatomy where the bottom is flat. Do you see that? It goes A, B, C. It looks sometimes, it can look like this. It can look like this. Sorry, that was the same thing. There's technical definitions as to what A and B, the relationship of A and B are, like mathematically, to qualify something as a flat correction. I'm not going to get into that, but it basically is flat on the bottom, okay? So that is flat correction, pivot, boom. So again, when you're looking at corrective patterns, whatever corrective pattern comes in a flavor of 3, it doesn't matter if it's a flat, a zigzag, a triangle, always flavors of 3. So that's A, that's B. I think you're impulsive here, and I'm going to show you why. Okay. So first, let me note this. This top right here is kind of an M top, okay? It's a funky M top, but it's a bearish reversal pattern, okay? You lost this M. Remember, lost support gets flipped into new resistance. You always have to retest it. This is the flip right here. Why am I so confident and saying that, this indicator is indicating that we're likely to get that pre-alt season, that big move in altcoins as Bitcoin is consolidating at that top of the purple box? It's because of this. Bitcoin dominance lost support, retests the support as resistance. Now expect to travel down. Bitcoin dominance coming down is telling you that altcoins are likely to gain against Bitcoin. The only way altcoins can gain against Bitcoin in market cap is if altcoins fly and Bitcoin stands relatively still. This is what I'm seeing on this chart. I hope that makes sense. And I've got an alarm down here. Why? Because if you look at this in terms of pattern analysis, the target for these M-tops, these technical patterns, are quite simply the height of the pattern superimposed from the site of breakout, which gives this target down here. And it is confluent with right here, the bottom of our B wave, I think it was, yeah? A wave. This is our B wave. That's our A wave, bottom of our A wave. So basically, you know, the chart shows that there's some sort of support here. You can see these wicks. You can see clearly there's bullish wicks to the downside, hammer candles, right? So I basically would be a buyer of altcoins as Bitcoin dominance falls from here to there. I'm a buyer of altcoins and I'm expecting the moves in altcoins. Once it gets here, I'm taking profit and expecting everything to dump. Okay, does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Last thing I'll say is this: when you look more granularly at this chart, why am I saying altcoin preseason and that I think we have something here? It's because everything here seems quite impulsive. Right here. Okay, everything here seems quite impulsive, where here it looks like you put in a zigzag, maybe a zigzag, and then you have an intra-wave correction, another zigzag. This is your only flat. So I think we come here, maybe do something like this, and then down. So I think this may be the start of alt season, right? I would not be surprised if we got something like this, because once we get here, we're going to have a reaction there. That is Bitcoin dumping down to our level of 66, 70K, and then, you know, everything else is going to puke as well. So I think that, to me, is the real alt season. Once that Bitcoin dominance really retests and then starts going down really strong impulsively. But I think this is close. It's not yet there, but it's very close. It's very close. That's the point I wanted to make. Guys, hope this was helpful. Hope this was useful. Like, share, and subscribe. If you got value, consider buying me a coffee, i.e. tipping me by sending me Venmo, Cash App, or Litecoin, all at the pinned comment below. And consider joining my crypto portfolio consultation service, $150 per month, 1 to 2 hours with me every month. And I help you balance your portfolio up to 5 assets, basically looking at the viability of what you're purchasing, making sure that you're actually going to get gains. Well, not making sure, I can't make sure of anything, but helping you with a high probability to make gains, serious gains in the Bitcoin and crypto bull market, and also helping you find good entries and exits for each and every one of those assets on a monthly basis. So that's what that is. You can sign up at the link below. All right, in the pinned comment below, there's a link to sign up for that. In any case, guys, take care. Hope everyone's well, staying safe, and profitable. Take care. Bye.